The meaning of stay human is recognize our responsibilities to live an ethical and decent life, one in which we care about others, care about their suffering, are concerned with our actions, what we're doing to relieve suffering or all too often to increase it, about our responsibility to future generations, which we are now in the process of threatening to destroy by our failure to deal with problems that are quite obvious but that we don't want to face, failing to deal with atrocities like the one in Gaza, to which we are directly contributing. I speak now as an American citizen, with a direct responsibility for these ongoing crimes and for the refusal to allow a settlement for them, which is well within reach. Couldn't say the same about many other parts of the world. Much suffering, much needless agony, enormous dangers. Staying human means devoting ourselves to overcoming these, mitigating them as much as we can, and not sitting by passively while they continue. Well, anyone who looks honestly at our world today and our own societies can't help but being struck by some quite remarkable phenomena. I mean, take simply the dire economic situation in which many people live in the richest societies in the world, those that are most privileged. Take the United States, though we could talk about Europe too. The United States is the richest and most powerful country in world history, has incomparable advantages. Poverty is rising to the highest level in years. There are over 23 million people either unemployed or underemployed or just having given up hope. These are people who want work. There are enormous resources. There's an enormous amount of work that has to be done. The society is so dysfunctional and the economy is so dysfunctional that it is unable to put together willing hands, work to be done, and resources available. That's in the richest country in the world. If we look elsewhere, what's happening is just monstrous. Just a few days ago, for example, there was a new scientific report about the melting of the ice over in the Arctic over the summer. It's finished now for the summer. Turns out it reached a new record, far beyond what was predicted by the sophisticated computer models that have been used. Another example, there's been a long string of them, in which the projections of scientists about the effects of global warming have been underestimated. They now predict that the Arctic will be free of ice within maybe a decade instead of 50 years, as was predicted. The consequences of this can be enormous. There's a vicious cycle that's well understood. As the ice melts, more dark sea is exposed, less reflection of the sun, accelerating a heating of the environment. It's very likely to be an extreme catastrophe, mostly at the beginning for the poorer people in the world. People who are already suffering will suffer worse, but sooner or later the rest as well. Meanwhile, the same article points out, governments and corporations are exploiting the new opportunity to increase mining and lifting oil, fossil fuels from the newly exposed Arctic region. In other words, accelerating the catastrophe. That's what we're now doing. It reflects an extraordinary indifference to the fate of our children and grandchildren, or maybe a remarkable inability or unwillingness to see what we don't like to see, rather like an infant who closes its eyes if there's a threat nearby. Whatever it is, it's a shocking failure of our society to function in a decent way. And the same can be said about our unwillingness to spend literally pennies, which is what it would take in the rich countries to overcome the fact that 1 billion people in the world are facing starvation. And it's all too easy to continue. So our concept of decent society and decent human life has to undergo a very serious analysis and introspection.